Thank you so much, Marcy, for being on the Magic of Cozy's podcast this afternoon.
Thank you for having me, Cynthia. I'm super excited to be here.
You're welcome. All right, let's get into it. So, can you tell us about your journey into writing paranormal cozy mysteries?
Sure, I'll try to give you the abridged version. I've been writing children's books for about a decade when I pivoted a couple of years ago and started writing romance mystery a little bit and then fully went into cozies in general last year. My first series is a contemporary. It's set in a retirement community. But after writing that for a while, I realized that I needed to not stop writing those characters, but take a brief pivot and try something different. And I know that because the cozy community is so warm and welcoming, that I see a lot of mixture of cozy, contemporary, and paranormal. So I took a stab at it, tried something new. I needed to try something new, and it's very light paranormal. We can talk about that if you want, but it was super fun for me to give myself permission to create things that can't really happen. So that was fun. But it's new. Book 3 will be out in December. Book 1 and 2 are out now. The first one came out in June. So I'm relatively new to the paranormal part of it.
Yes, well, so far so good. I actually am reading book 1 right now, and
awesome.
I am loving it. It's interesting. So I won't give any spoilers for any people who are listening and have not read.
Here's the cover. Oh.
But the way the paranormal sort of presents itself is actually very similar to another book that I read like a while back, and I'm not gonna remember the name of it or the author at this point. It was different but similar in that, well, I'll leave it a mystery for those to actually pick up the book and read it. But it's just like the way the paranormal entity comes through was similar.
Yeah, a lot of times it's someone moves somewhere and then they just discover that they have these magical abilities. That's what a lot of the paranormals are, and mine is totally different. It's someone coming to let's call it a normal person, who doesn't have powers, coming to her and communicating that way.
Yeah. No, it's really fun and so far so good. I'm almost done.
Good. Awesome.
I was trying to finish before our interview, but I didn't get around.
No problem.
So what inspired you to blend? You said that you had to take a break from the sort of traditional cozies and do something a little different, but what inspired you to blend the supernatural themes that you do have in your books with the cozy mysteries?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, the setting in this particular series, in the paranormal series, is in a Lake Michigan beach town in southwestern Michigan. And I live in a beach town in southwestern Michigan. And I recently left the school system where I was the elementary school librarian. And I've also have been an actual classroom teacher as well. So I knew that I wanted to create a series with a setting that was very heavily influenced on some of my experiences of being in an elementary school. So that's why I made the sleuth a teacher. But there's actually kind of an interesting story as to why I chose. I'll just give this. I mean, it's not really a spoiler, but the way that the ghost communicates with Vivian, the kindergarten teacher, is through text messages on an old phone. I was scrolling through TikTok one day, like many of us do, and a video came up on my feed from someone that I wasn't following, and it was a gentleman. I don't know. I can't remember his handle, but he does dad jokes or whatever. But it was a very serious video about how he had received a text message from his father. It came up on his phone. And it freaked him out because his father had been gone for 3 years. He had died. And he quickly realized that after speaking with his mother, that she had kept dad's phone and something happened to her phone. So she was just using dad's phone to call her son. But it really bothered him because he really got emotional because he really wished that he had that connection with his father, and you could. And so that's the medium that was the inspiration for the medium that I use for the ghost to contact the main character. Now, the ghost that's contacting my main character is an ex-boyfriend who was a jerk, and that's humorous, and now he's become a jealous ghost and all of that. But that was my inspiration for using that as the medium for the ghost to contact the main character. And then of course I wanted it to be set in a school setting because I had so many years of experience that I could draw upon.
Yeah, and some of the characters' experiences in the school the students is so funny. And I don't have children, but I'm just like, oh gosh. Like I just
And
some of the things we had
realistic,
to deal with.
yeah, it's realistic too. I mean, some of those things were pulled from the headlines. A lot of it's fictionalized, but I had lots of years to draw from, and it was super fun.
Yeah, yeah. So you said that your the town is based on the area of Michigan that you live in now.
It is, yeah.
Is it a real town? Is it made up? And what
Yeah.
elements of where you currently live did you bring in
Yeah,
to?
so it's called Beach Shores is the name. It's a completely fictionalized town, but I do live in a Lake Michigan town where like I don't live on the lake, not that wealthy. I'm an author. But I live a couple miles from the lake, and so a lot of the towns along the coast are Indian Pier or Beach or Shores. So I kind of took a conglomeration of the names and put them together. But in my mind, as I was writing it, I was seeing the main street of our town. I was seeing the bookstore in a nearby town. I was, seeing the hospital in a nearby town, and so I mean, I haven't yet had a scene where it takes place on the actual beach itself. But in my mind, these little communities that go up the lake, the side of Lake Michigan, they're very touristy in the summertime. They were, uh, they were definitely in my mind as I was writing.
So, what advice would you give to aspiring authors who are interested in writing a paranormal cozy mystery series?
Well, I was afraid because I had never, other than just very loosely paranormal and a couple of my kids' series, very loosely. I am very much a rules girl, and so my world has to make sense and it has to have rules, and so therefore I stick in the contemporary. So I just had to give myself permission to make mistakes. And because my series is so lightly paranormal, it's not a whole nother world like some paranormal authors do. It felt natural to me, but I would just say just try it. You won't know unless you do it. And I actually had a lot of fun with it. And I wrote the first two books right away, and then I went back to my other series because I wanted to continue that. But I'm now working on book three, and I'm finding that I'm really loving this world. And there's going to be another ghost coming into book three, and it's kind of fun to open up my mind to trying different things that I've never done before. Take a chance.
Yeah, I mean, as you can tell from the podcast, I think paranormal cozies are my favorite for
Mm-hmm.
sure. To read because they're, I mean, all cozies are great, and I read them all. But the paranormal, I find, I mean, there's like the super witchy ones where it's a whole
Mm-hmm.
new world, and that's
Right.
fun to like dive into. Then you have ones where like they're a witch, but in like the modern times as we know it, which is one of my favorites because I'm like, that's how I hope witches, like, like real witches live,
Right.
right, amongst the regular world, and then
Sure.
they do their thing. And then you have the ghostly aspects, right? You have a haunted house or a
Mm-hmm.
haunted person or communication with the dead, and just there's so many layers to a paranormal cozy that it's there's a lot to read out there.
Yeah, well, and it gives authors an opportunity to choose the element of paranormal that they like. They want to write about ghosts, they want to write about witches, whatever, shapeshifters,
Yeah, and you can
whatever.
like
So,
mix them all up. I have a series that I'm also reading on my Kindle that is vampire based, and that's new
mm-hmm.
to me. I was like, "Ooh, vampires!" I mean, it's not the concept isn't new, but it's the first cozy I'm reading where it's like vampires.
Yeah,
So it's a
sure.
made up world with vampires and humans who live side by side, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, "This is interesting." So, um, it's fun. It's a fun read. So the questions are going to take a little bit of a turn.
Okay.
Um, if you could have a magical power or ability, what would it be and why?
Yeah. So for me, it truly is like Vivian, my main character. I would love to be able to communicate with people that are no longer here. Now, I know again in the book she's irritated because it's an ex she doesn't want to talk to, but I have lost some very significant people in my life, and I would love having that ability to, whether it be through text message or a cell phone, to be able to somehow communicate or hear what they're saying to me. I know that sounds kind of strange. But I have had people say that to me when they've read my book too, is boy, I really wish. Is that
Mhm.
something else in the book series too, is that she also had lost someone that she did care about, unlike her ex-boyfriend. And she can't communicate with him the same way she can communicate with her jerky ex-boyfriend. So I think that's something that I wish I was able to do.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And if you believe in energy and all the woo woo things, there are stories of energy passing through. Take it for take that however you will. Not necessarily through a cell phone, but um, I don't know. I like to keep all ideas open. That
No, I
there's
do too. And I have a
possibilities.
friend that described it to me. She had lost her daughter, and she described those situations when you get like a sign. I mean,
Mhm.
you refer to it as woo woo, but I mean, and some people do think it's woo woo that are listening probably, but she calls them angel winks. And I thought that's just a really beautiful thing. And I think now that I'm open to receiving those angel winks, however they come, I see them more often. Take that for what it is. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think that it makes me feel happy whether it's true or not.
yeah. I do believe in all the woo woo. I use that like with love.
Yeah, yeah, no, me too. I got the sense that that's what you meant by it, but yeah.
So, what is your definition of magic?
Mm. I think I think of magic as the something happening that quote normal people in everyday life wouldn't have an explanation for. When something happens that just seems to defy reality and doesn't have a logical reason for why it's happening, would be my
Yeah.
definition.
And what is your favorite way to get cozy with the book?
Is this TMI if I say I love to take bubble baths?
No, it's not.
I do like to do that with a good book. And yes, I may have dropped my Kindle in the bathtub before, but I won't go down that route. Also, I just love this really this time of year. I live in Michigan, so the temp, well, it could be like 90 degrees at the end of the day, but it could be 50 in the morning this time of year. But I love just a cozy blanket. I have a couple favorite I want to say blankies. That makes me sound like a child, but I have a favorite couple favorite blankets that I love to curl up with on the couch with a good book too.
Nice. That's one of my favorites. I just have to turn down the AC being in Tucson.
Oh, and that's why people like us in Michigan go to Arizona in the wintertime.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. You guys, the Canadians, everyone from
Mm-hmm.
the north comes down
Everyone, yeah.
for our nice weather in the winter. Yeah. So, what are you reading right now? Do you have any book recommendations for our listeners?
I do. It's hard for me to do a lot of reading when I'm writing. And I've been writing fast a lot, so I haven't read a whole lot. But I am reading Vera Wang's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers. And it's a woman that runs a tea shop. Have you read it? She runs a tea
Yes,
shop in San Francisco, and
so
she
good.
thinks that she can solve the murder. And it's so funny. And I think that's what I found what I enjoy the most about cozy mysteries is I love to find the humorous cozy mysteries that are very like tongue in cheek.
Hmm.
And so anyway, it's just been super fun. That's
Yeah,
what I've been reading right now.
I read it as an audiobook and it
Mm,
was
was
hilarious. It
it?
was
That's
hilarious.
good. Yeah, I'm
It was
loving
really,
it.
really
And I have Thursday Murder Club is on my next list to read too. So I love elderly or advanced in age protagonists sometimes. And so it's been just been super fun. I love it.
yeah, that's a good one. And do you have any new projects you like to share or promote?
So, I'm working on book 3 in the Paranormal Cozy series, and that will come out in December. But next week, book 7 in my Tucson Valley Retirement Community Cozy Mystery series comes out on Wednesday. So that'll be 7 books in that series, and then, like I said, book 3 in the Ghost. It's called the Ghost Texter series. That'll be out hopefully by December. And I just bundled a few of my books in the Tucson Valley series as an audiobook and also as ebook for people that like to read or buy multiple books together. I'm probably going to be hiring a narrator soon to do the paranormal series as an audiobook. Um, so yeah, I have lots of things. I just finally finished my regular job and I'm doing this full time now. So
Great.
so much of the time is marketing. If you could just like there's like over 10 million books on Amazon or whatever the number is now, and just getting your books seen is a full-time business in and of itself. So I spend a lot of my day doing that, but I'm fully committed for
Great.
better for worse, but I love it. The cozy readers are so warm and so kind And I love this genre. I've always loved this genre, but I never imagined writing adult in this genre, and it's just been a blessing.
Yeah, I joined this genre probably back in 2000. I think a lot of people found cozy mysteries in during the COVID era of
Mhm.
being home and needing. I read a lot of thrillers, a lot of mysteries, and I was looking for new books and looking in that genre. And then I can't even really remember how cozy's kind of crept in. Maybe just because I put in mystery,
Mhm.
in the search engine, and then up popped these, and then I was like, oh, what's this? And I sort of found a couple, ordered a couple through used books in case I hated it.
Mhm.
I wasn't sure if I was gonna
Sure.
like this, so I was like, I'll get some used books, and then that way I didn't spend that much money. And
Right.
then fell in love, of course. And then I was like, how can I get more? Now my TBR
Mhm.
list is ridiculous, like everyone else's.
Right.
And yeah, it's been great. I love this community for sure.
There's a lot of craziness going on in the world right now, so it's nice to I one of my series has been described as a palate cleanser.
Mhm.
And so it's kinda
Yeah,
nice to just have that palate cleanser break from everything that's going on in the world and just kinda laugh at the silliness of a cozy mystery and
yeah.
the quirky characters the authors create. It's just a fun world.
Yeah, it is a really great reprieve from
Yes,
everything
that's a good word
else
for
for
it.
sure. Um, so how can our listeners find you?
So, I am of a certain age, but I am on all the socials. So, on Instagram, I'm Marcy_Blesy. Blesy. There's nobody else in the world that has my name, so it's easy to find. On Facebook, I'm Marcy Blesy, author. And on TikTok, I am at Marcy Blesy. Again, Marcy Blesy. I have a website too under my name, so it's pretty easy to find me online.
Great, and I will add all of these links to the show notes as well, so people
Awesome,
can
thank you.
easily find you.
And all my books are in Kindle Unlimited, so for any of your readers that have Kindle Unlimited, download those books.
Yes, definitely, definitely. I know I have a bunch on my TBR. I'm gonna have to push up to the top for sure. Well, thank you so much, Marcy, for being with us today, and we will talk soon.
Thank you so much, Cynthia, and to all your listeners as well. Have a great day.
Thanks. Bye.